Hello again. We're approaching the end of our refresher training. There's just this short video and a quiz to complete. Thank you for taking the time to engage with the content so far. We've covered a lot of information in this short course, and it's understandable if you feel you need to revisit the information or materials contained within this course several times. Please keep coming back to review the resources whenever you need to let all the information sink in. Let's quickly recap the objectives we set out at the start of the course. In this module, we've discussed Switchboard's values, focusing in particular on the reasons for adopting a non-directive and non-judgmental approach to communicating with service users. Explored the listening toolkit we promote at Switchboard, explaining what each listening skill is. Recapped the rules of membership at Switchboard. Identified key considerations you need to be aware of in order to create an inclusive culture within Switchboard. Discussed the safeguarding process at Switchboard and the steps you should take to raise a concern. Explored key guidance for handling inappropriate service users. Discussed the resources and tools available to support you when you're speaking with service users. If there's anything you're unsure about or want to discuss further, please do drop the staff team a note via volunteering@switchboard.lgbt. They'd be delighted to find time to chat further. The final step is for you to complete the quiz found after this video. This tests your knowledge on all the information covered in this course. You need to score 80% or more to pass the course, but don't worry, you can retake the quiz as many times as you need to. Thanks again for taking the time to complete this training. Goodbye. Hello and welcome to this online refresher course for 2025. My name is Andrew, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm a listening volunteer and trustee at Switchboard. It's my pleasure to be able to welcome you to this online refresher training and explain a little bit more about the background to it. I'm sure it's no surprise to say that we've wanted to deliver a refresher course for volunteers for a while now. We've absolutely no doubts about volunteers' listening skills or their dedication to Switchboard, but we think it's helpful to recap some of the skills taught during CAT from time to time to make sure we stay on top of these and feel confident using them when speaking with service users. We also know there's been a lot of change in recent years with new guidance being introduced and some amendments being made to the way training is delivered at Switchboard. We thought it would be helpful to summarise some of these changes in this training to make sure volunteers can stay on top of the latest guidance. By the end of this online course, we hope you'll be reminded of Switchboard's values and rules of membership, be able to identify the listening skills we use when communicating with service users, feel able to flag any safeguarding concerns, and handle inappropriate service users, and feel able to support us in taking steps to create an inclusive culture within the organisation. This online course is relevant to a ratified listening volunteer at Switchboard, whether you prefer supporting on phones, IM, email, or a mix of them. The course lasts around 1 hour in total and is made up of a range of text-based articles, videos, audio clips, and quizzes. You'll notice there are quizzes placed throughout the module which aim to help you check your understanding as you work through the content. At the end of this course, there's a final quiz. You can retake this as many times as you need, and we don't keep a track of this information, but we do need you to pass it with a score of 80% or higher in order to complete the course. We hope you find this to be a useful opportunity to brush up on your listening skills and knowledge of all things Switchboard. We want this to be a useful refresh which helps us all feel more informed and confident when speaking to service users. Please remember that you don't have to complete the course in one sitting. You can return to it as many times as you need to and pick up where you left off. Give yourself plenty of breaks, and if anything feels overwhelming or you're having any technical issues, please reach out to the staff team for support. Thank you for taking the time to complete this course. Bye for now. Switchboard's remit is pretty huge, we get that. No two communications on a shift are the same, and there's a wide range of topics you could possibly explore with service users. We don't ever expect you to present yourselves as experts on different topics. Switchboard is never marketed as a service that provides expert guidance. We ultimately want you to be great active listeners and to hold the space for service users to talk about the things they want to. However, there are some resources you can access to find out more about different topics and possible signposts you might want to consider. We've listed these in this video. The Wiki. This contains information about different services and resources which you might want to consider exploring when communicating with service users. It's especially useful for signposting. You can access the Wiki via My Switchboard. There's a tab titled Wiki, helpfully, and this provides a drop-down menu of topics for you to choose from. You can also use the search bar on My Switchboard to search for information by typing keywords into it. Sometimes links may not be the most up-to-date. If you want to add a signpost or amend a link, please let the staff team know by emailing volunteering@switchboard.lgbt. Canned responses. We have canned responses for IM and email shifts linked to My Switchboard. These provide useful starting points for volunteers with text containing different signposts for you to consider. One thing to bear in mind when using these canned responses is that they should never be copied and pasted directly without personalization. It's key that a reply to a service user is relevant and appropriate to the topics they've raised. Slack. We use Slack as an internal communication tool. There are a range of channels and groups you can comment in, and you can also use this tool to find volunteers and members of the staff team to communicate with them. For further information on Slack, check out the short module found via the course library in the Learning Hub. Google. You can absolutely use Google and other search engines to find information during shifts. You can explain to service users that you aren't an expert in certain areas, but are happy to search for information or services with them. When using Google, we recommend that you use the CRAP model to make sure that signposts are of good quality. C stands for currency. It's all about the timeliness of the information. When was it last published? How up to date is it? R stands for relevance. Is the information useful to the service user? Does it actually link to what they've said? A stands for authority. Who's the author and the publisher? What are their credentials? The second A stands for accuracy. Is the information biased? Has it been reviewed? Where does it come from? P stands for purpose. Why is the content there in the first place? Why was it created? We don't expect you to remember every letter of the acronym, but we do recommend keeping this in mind when reviewing sources of information and services which you'll be signposting service users to. We focused a lot on resources to help you signpost, but there are other resources you might want to know about as well. Tech FAQs. If you're experiencing technical issues whilst on a shift, you can comment in the #tech-support channel on Slack, or you can request help via the question mark symbol on My Switchboard. You can also look at the technical FAQ document which we have, which provides step-by-step guidance with pictures to help you solve any problems you're having. Another very key resource is Sisters. Sisters are on-call, experienced volunteers who can support you after a conversation, whether you want to share your feelings about it, seek support, ask questions, or clarify anything you're unsure about. They won't judge you and they won't keep a log of the communications. As you can't access Switchboard as a service user, this is your internal Switchboard support system and we encourage you to use it. You can find the details of Sisters on shift next to the rota on My Switchboard and the #shift-chat channel on Slack. If you do one thing after this course, drop a sister a note to demystify the experience, to make sure you know who they are and what they do. Now that you know what our values are, let's explore each of them in a little more detail. Non-judgmental. This is a cornerstone of our service. As you already know, the range of topics volunteers can discuss with service users is huge. When contacting Switchboard, we want service users to feel able to talk about anything they want to. It's rare that LGBTQIA+ people can find safe spaces to share their thoughts and feelings, and we believe it's important that we don't bring our own opinions, thoughts, or biases to the conversation. Instead, letting the service user lead and talk about the things they want to. We only have a brief snapshot into their lives and can't possibly form opinions of someone else's situation. If we do, we're likely to lose them or make things a bit worse for them. People may be at the very start of their journey, and it's vital that a non-judgmental approach is taken so that they can explore what that might look like for them. Inclusive. The LGBTQIA+ community is broad and beautiful. We want service users from a variety of backgrounds and lived experiences to be able to access Switchboard and see it as a safe space. We also want their friends, family members, and those supporting them to feel able to contact us as well. We also want volunteers within our own Switchboard community to feel able to be themselves and show up authentically. We'll explore ways in which we can foster an inclusive culture later in this course, but be mindful of the language you use, of your own biases and thought processes, and the fact that we all come from different backgrounds and walks of life. Whatever works for one person won't for another. Committed. We ask a minimum commitment of 18 hours per quarter from all volunteers. This works out at around 3 hours every 2 weeks. Shifts can be booked flexibly, but it's important that volunteers are mindful of this commitment and are able to book in regular shifts. Our rules of membership, in fact, say that all volunteers need to have a shift booked at all times. If we could do this, we'd cover our rota in no time. Empowering. You'll be very familiar with this, but at Switchboard our training always promotes the concept of active listening. This is all about taking more of a backseat role when communicating with a service user, letting them share their thoughts and feelings and come to their own conclusions. We talk a lot about being non-directive, and this is so important to us. We don't want you to ever tell a service user what to do or how to solve their problem, as easy as that is for us to say. Because it's about empowering the service user to make decisions for themselves and to choose the actions they want to take. We'll explore ways in which we can be empowering when discussing our listening toolkit in the next chapter. Supportive. In 2024, we intentionally rebranded from a helpline to a support line because we wanted to make it clear that we create the time and space for service users to discuss their thoughts and feelings, and by doing so, provide support to them, but we don't set out to help or solve their problems for them. We want volunteers to be supportive, in other words, empathetic in their tone and approach, there to speak with a service user, explore different topics with them, rather than focused on helping service users to find resolutions to their problems. Informed. You can't ever be expected to know absolutely everything about every topic a service user might want to explore. That would be impossible. However, it is important to be aware of issues facing our community, the availability of services which you might be signposting service users to, and key information about some of our most frequent conversation topics. We'll look at tools at your disposal to do this later on in this course. For now, let's check your understanding of our values via the activity found below this video.